Annyeonghaseyo, this is meowmurai. Let's check out Dark Souls Remastered. Remastered being a very loose, loose definition of this game on Nintendo Switch 2. Now, FromSoft is one of these companies that somehow makes one terribly optimized game, unoptimized game after another. Usually the game itself is unoptimized, and then if it has any sort of network capability, that's also unoptimized. Yet over and over again, we praise the company that makes these games, even though every single time they just make the absolute worst running game, whether it be networked or not networked. And I really don't understand it. I mean, I like these games just fine, but I'm perfectly willing to admit that they don't run good. And they should probably, look for a third party to actually code their games, But that being said, let's see if this runs any better. I mean, obviously, we aren't expecting much, if anything. Face, yes, I would like to have a face. Maybe I wouldn't like to have any of these faces though. I mean, these are like I said, I'm not expecting anything. I'm expecting this to run just as crappy as it does on every platform that this game exists on, which is most platforms.
Shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons.
In fact, I think the only good running FromSoft game is, number one, the Dark Souls remake, which is obviously not programmed by them. And maybe Sekiro. I think Sekiro actually is a pretty consistent frame rate that you can depend on. But pretty much everything else they make is a wildly varying frame rate.
And of course, light and dark.
Even their newest game, Night Rain, I thought, well, maybe Elden Ring was the way they were going to test their engine and their prowess and, create a very, very large open world. And then they would, slowly refine their engine to be more optimized. But then Night Rain comes out and it runs just as shitty as Elden Ring. I dare say that that network performance on Night Rain is maybe a little bit worse than Elden Ring. It demands much more. I think that's probably the reason behind that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they need to hire some programmers who know how to actually program. Maybe they're all point and clickers. Who knows? But they got to do something because their games run like absolute garbage every single time too. I think Sekiro was the only one that they really paid attention to and made sure that game ran well. It's like all these dark fantasy games that they've been working on run like a complete train wreck, and then the one game which is tied in Japanese history. That's the one that they actually said, well, we better make sure this runs right. Everything else, they're like, screw it. Stupid dark fantasy, we don't care. It's not Japanese, who cares?
Thus began the Age of Fire.
I'm actually surprised that this runs well. This actually runs at 24 frames. Or 30 frames, you're right, but it's a 30 frame container. I thought for sure when they brought this over to Switch that it would just be full of screen tearing.
Even now, there are only embers. And man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the
One ring.
accursed dark side.
Yeah, different franchise. Maybe slightly better franchise. Alright, let's see how this garbage runs. I'm sorry, the game's not garbage. It's just, it runs like garbage.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are
But I do love the
locked
world.
away
I mean, I gotta say,
to await the
their
end of
graphic
the
design and their artistry, top notch. Their game optimization, pretty much bottom of the barrel.
This is your fate.
I think the worst part of it is that you look at this game, which they even remastered, and you're like, why does it run like this? Why does it look like this and run like this? And I think there's a few answers your mind can give you. He's like, ho, ho, ho. Oh, hey, Metal Wolf. Yeah, Sunday's been okay. We're just going to test and see how this game runs, which I'm sure it will run absolutely terrible. Yeah, these guys aren't hurting anybody. I mean, I would hope that this thing could at least lock in at 30 frames. But, you know, it's the first Dark Souls. You're lucky if it runs at 30 frames for more than 5 minutes, you know. Unfortunately, it's the only Dark Souls that's on the Switch family of systems. They never got Dark Souls 2 or 3 or Sekiro. I mean, they're getting Elden Ring, but that's going to be way later. And I don't imagine that's going to run too well either. It's based on the history of FromSoft games. So far, this is pretty much locked at 30. This little entry area. It'll be more interesting once we get to the wider areas. Ooh, boy, had some tacos. Ouch. It's like, I don't think so. What is the point? It's kind of an interesting way to open a game. Just to get, give you something that you actually can't beat. Well, I mean, you can beat it, but you probably won't have any fun doing it. Oh, whoops. I forgot. As soon as you bring out the menu, you're active in it. This game's also a little weird in that it tends to use the B button, which is not exactly normal on a Nintendo system. Usually you want to use the A button to confirm stuff, but not this game. This game actually wants you to use the B button sometimes, and then sometimes it wants you to use the A button. So it's a little weird, to say the least. Yeah, I'm not an expert runner of this game, so yeah, don't expect me to play this game, butt naked, using only my fists. I definitely don't want to play it like that. Yeah, but we seem to be basically locked at 30. Let's see if we can get to the point where the frames drop pretty excessively. I think it'll be a little while, though.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you?
Okay, what do you got to say, buddy?
I have failed in my mission.
I'm the listening type.
But perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. And thine exodus from the undead asylum maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know.
I will say it does look pretty clean.
Oh, one more thing. Here, take this.
I think it's locked in on resolution instead of
An undead favorite.
being wildly variable.
Oh, and this.
I think it's what the Switch 1. If you run this on Switch 1, it can.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you.
The resolution can really drop sometimes, and it can look pretty blurry.
And thank you.
But here, I think it's pretty steady.
Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
so funny how all the prompts stay on the screen, and they can prevent you from doing actions if you're not careful. It's a problem that kind of persisted even up until Elden Ring. Although I think they've patched Elden Ring, so it doesn't do it quite as much. But you still kind of run into the occasion where there's some menu on the screen and some prompt, which is the same prompt as and that you might need to like to do the generic action. Oh, well, messed that one up, huh? Oops. Right in the rump roast. Yeah, boy, playing things at 30 frames nowadays is it feels like I'm underwater.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated That one day
But I think this game is
undead
hopeless unless it's a complete remake, because the underlying code is tied to the frame rate.
to leave the undead
And
asylum.
it would be a
in
major undertaking
pilgrimage
to get this engine as it is
to the
to up to a
land
60
of the
frame standard.
ancient lords.
Not even thinking about 120 frames.
Lordran.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess. Fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first. But there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are actually 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happens. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Hi. Alright, is there anything else I have to do here? I don't think so. I really don't remember. I mean, it's been many, many years since we played this game. I just know we're going to fight the camera as much as we will the enemies. Maybe more so. What a bothersome little bastard. Get out of here. Probably one of the most annoying mechanics in the game. Slapping yourself against the wall. It's like a person wouldn't really do that. You know, like they would just adjust the angle of their arm without slapping the wall. But not our protagonist. He's a little dim. Rubbish. I know, no jumping, no shimmying over tables and ledges. I always felt like something like that was missing. Okay, well, I think that gives us enough of an idea about how the game runs, so we'll stop it there. This is meowmurai. I'm watching Dark Souls Remastered, running on Nintendo Switch 2. But again, nothing has been done to the code to get this to run on the Switch 2 or take advantage of any of its features. You get slightly faster load times. Certainly better than the original Dark Souls. I mean, the original Dark Souls really ran absolutely terrible. And while this does not run great, at least the resolution is locked and the frame rate is locked. Although I don't necessarily think locked 30 frames is good in this day and age. But yeah, I mean, if you still want to play it, it still works. And there's still lots of people playing the game, even on this platform. So yeah, check it out. Maybe if you're new to Souls games or you want to try something in the Souls series, it certainly wouldn't hurt to start with this one, since this is the foundation of all their future games, and they basically all have variations of this playstyle, with the exception of Sekiro and Bloodborne. Sekiro being the most dramatic divergence that they had, and Bloodborne just being a little bit faster paced and a little bit more aggressive. But yeah, I'd say that this is okay. I don't think it's on sale right now, but it does regularly go on sale, so check it out when that happens. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching. I will see you at the next stream.